coming in your garden.
Your bush?
Oh my God!
Bush is looking very
How
nice.
many euphemisms?
And I thought that can't be the first question I ask. I can't say your bush looks marvellous. I could.
I'm going to put the audio one on now because that's really funny.
It did it. So it was looking all nice and I thought it looked really trim. I don't remember the last time I've seen it looking that good.
Jill has literally just started this conversation with so many innuendos in one sentence.
Yes, not intentional.
When I was coming in your garden, I noticed how trim your bush was.
I did. I thought to myself, oh my goodness, your bush is looking really good. Just quite something in the winter. But it does.
Something in the summer too.
Did somebody, well, especially the size of it. She has a big hedge. But did
it's getting worse. She's digging in an even deeper hole.
Has somebody been outside trimming
David
your
trimmed
garden
the bush.
That's all I wanted to know.
David's very good at trimming.
He probably does it out of necessity. Oh dear. At least it's cheering us up.
I'll tell you what, because we've had a shit day, so we're doing whatever. We've had a bit of a crap day, so we're just trying to lift our spirits. But I remember having a really funny conversation, 2 hilarious conversations with my mum. Ooh. Right, and one of them is about hair, and I don't know how he got onto it, but it was something like that about an innuendo or something, and she went, well, this is the funny thing about getting older. So my mum's in her 80s. She goes, you have less hair.
That's something to look for. Well, the thing is, this is way too much information to be broadcasted, but that is true for me up here. Not down there. I'm going to have a full-on beard down there and nothing up here.
You could just turn yourself around
and stand on my head, which I can't do either. I can't do that anymore.
Classic.
But I mean, what would the logic be in that? Like, why move the hair on your head and not?
I don't know.
Else? I'm getting hair on my chin.
Oh, the chin one. Oh, that annoys me. That really annoys me.
All the
time.
You
know, the best light for your chin hair is in the car at the traffic lights, because you can really see. But let me tell you about this other funny thing that my mum said once, and I nearly fell off my chair when she said this, right? This is a few years ago now. I wasn't with David, I was single, I was divorced, and I'd been on a few dates and a few, I've been together with, 3, 4, 5 dates with this one, blah, blah, blah. And I just finished a whole relationship a few months before, actually, with a guy who I'd been out with a few times. Anyway, my mum's going, well, it's such a shame, because he had a lot of prospects, and he was, such a mum thing, and he had a good position and some money in the bank, and it was such a mum thing to do. She kept banging on, and in the end I said, one of the real major problems, Mum, was he had a tiny penis.
Oh!
Right, and my mum came out with this classic. We're having coffee, it's about 11 o'clock in the morning, she went, well, talking of penis. Now when your mum says that, you know you're in trouble. And I was like, really? And she was like, I was in art class the other day, and we were doing live drawings, and this guy that we have, I think he's called James or something like that, who comes in, does his naked pose and everything.
Good on your mum.
We always say, shame about the face, because the body is really, so we call him shame about the face.
Oh, bless.
Because the rest of it's fantastic, but the face is just, he looks a bit like a bad version of Jesus. She said to me. Okay. But that's not the point. He's got an enormous
one of these
penis.
sort of skinny types with a really big donger.
Massive big donger, basically. And my mum said, the difficulty is that you don't know how to get the sizings right, and you feel a bit rude with your pencil. With your pencil like this, going, oh no, hold on, I need a bigger pencil, So I usually leave it blank.
I know. I have a story very similar to this. So when I was studying, I studied art at university.
You did,
and in one of my first life drawing classes. It was an older guy, but similar, really scrawny, but massive willy. And I was trying to be grown up about this, so I was thinking, right, I'm not going to skirt around the issue and not draw the penis.
So you just did a massive penis.
I ended up putting so much focus on the penis that when they said stop, I'd pretty much drawn a silhouette and then this beautifully detailed, shaded, rather fine-looking willy. And I was mortified when I handed it in. I was so in my thing.
Getting away from the point of view.
We weren't going to speak about changing the script.
Changing the language. Yes, exactly. I've just blamed my partner today for giving me. So I'm one of these people. I don't know if you're one of these people. So I think I've talked in the past about Vata, Pitta and Kapha. I've talked about air and fire
yes, you have.
and earth, right? So we're going to come back to this. If you don't remember this, then you need to check back on some of our episodes. But basically it's from Ayurveda. And I'm quite a Pitta person, a fire person.
Which is with fire.
And I like to finish things. Well, you're all three of them, but my dominance is Pitta. David's dominance is a kind of Kapha Vata, so he's like air and
you said I'm mainly air, yeah?
You've got quite a lot of air about you. And then
I won't take offense.
Any levels. We're not going to go down. We talked about farting before. We're not going to talk about that today. But you've got that sort of side to you, you flit to lots of different things.
Yeah.
But then, your Pitta side will be, no, I need to get it finished. So I need to get it finished.
Yeah.
And you've got quite a sort of homing instinct. You like your home.
Yeah,
thing. So that's like a Kapha thing. That's like an earth thing. So David is very good at giving me ideas. One of my best friends is the same. Very good at giving me ideas, right? Mm-hmm. Now, 80% of them I've learnt to not take on board, right? And just go, whatever. Because they have a habit, both my friend and David, of giving me these things and then forgetting all about them.
So they just give you the ideas, but they don't do anything.
For me, it's something that I could do.
Right, yeah.
But then because I have this Pitta thing, I just love to do
Once
it.
It's planted
but I love to do it well.
You have to do it.
Yeah,
okay.
And it's adding, it wasn't planned, and it's adding stuff into my already overloaded agenda. But I like to finish things, so I keep going and I do it, and I'm like a freaking dog with a bone.
Maybe you can take your Pitta to my house and finish all the things that I start and don't.
So you see, my friend I'm talking about is called Leslie. Leslie's the same. She's got lots of unfinished projects around her house.
Ideas and stuff, and then it's just a
But then that's why I'm blaming David today, because he put me in a situation that I wasn't planning to be.
So it's thrown you off course.
It's thrown me
your day off course.
Although, having said that, super proud of myself because I did ride today, and it's been very difficult riding recently. Very, very cold. Not been able to gallop them. They've got way too much energy. We've only been able to walk, like no trotting even, like nothing. So they're like hyper, the horses are. But and I fell off last week. I fell off last week. It really hurt my back. Today, managed to not only trot, but gallop in control of my lovely horse. And he was
so that's
very well behaved.
Celebrating.
So that's a celebratory thing.
I've had a shitty day. I've spent the whole day dealing with French administration. So France is a wonderful country. We love living here. But the downside is
so difficult. And not only has it always been difficult, because it has always been difficult.
They're known for
like
that.
If you open a bank account here,
it's not
France,
simple.
Absolute nightmare. You have to. It's almost like you're begging them to open an account for you, but you're like, I'm giving you money.
And you need every kind of document, and then you hand in those documents only to be told that you need
computer
more.
Says no.
And now that things are online, like everywhere, you can no longer speak to anybody. But even the online systems are like, they're not very straightforward. No. Let's just say that.
Particularly the French.
And
when they ask for really specific
that you don't
documents, that you don't actually know what they are, so you have to go and Google what the heck it is to find out.
I have spent the whole day going round in circles, going to this department to be sent to that department, to be sent to this department, and I'm like, And ironically, tonight we were going to be speaking about winter.
Yeah.
And embracing winter and changing the language. So moving away from the talk of bloody hell, it's winter, it's freezing, I don't like this, I'm tired.
When it is actually the time to do these kinds of things that we're doing, to be fair. Do you know what I mean?
Today's a bad example.
Today's a really bad example, but it is actually a time to get on with stuff like that, you know, and kind of just get it out of the way, get it done, because then the rest of the year kind of flows.
I am reading. I know you've read the book Wintering.
I have read,
and it's a lovely book, Wintering.
Yeah.
I am reading
just love the
How
word.
to Winter now.
Ah, nice. Okay.
And it is nice. It's very similar.
Right. Is it a novel or is it a
no? It's
self-help book?
similar to Wintering. So there's the personal story,
right?
But
I'll
also at the end
reading.
of each chapter, it gives you nice little exercises to do, which is quite nice. But the big thing, she spent.
I'll show you this one that I'm reading.
The author spent a large. I don't know if they still do live in Norway.
Oh, Norway.
And it's speaking all about like the Finns,
they winter,
the
don't they?
Danes, and their approach to
They
winter.
winter big time.
And when you're living in somewhere that's dark most of the time,
I couldn't do that.
but that's what everybody says. And that's what this person said before moving there.
Right. Oh, so they're not from Norway?
No. And then actually going there, you see how they have a completely different mindset towards the dark and towards winter over there. So there's no, you know, everything becomes more of a celebration. You're forced to slow down, light the candles. And I'm not being funny, just reading the book puts me in a good mood. Makes me go all wintry,
really nice.
You know?
Well, I'm going to share my book then.
Oh yeah, ooh,
I bought this book.
This looks nice.
I'm going to show you on the visual. If you can't see the visual, go to the YouTube channel. But basically, it's a beautiful blue and gold cover. And I found this in Waterstones in
the UK.
Reggie
barking. If you hear a bark, that's just Reggie.
It's my dog going nuts downstairs.
The
Hidden Seasons, and it's by Tristan Gooley. And apparently Tristan Gooley writes a lot of nature books.
I'm going to look for that. I can tell by the cover I'd like.
It's beautiful, and it's a calendar of nature's clues and signs.
Ooh!
And you've also got If Women Run with the Wolves. Clarissa Pinkola Estes. And one of the chapters in there, which is one of my favourite, which talks about the Selkies. At the beginning of it.
Is that the seal woman?
Yes.
Yeah, I love that story.
The seal woman. It's one of my favourite stories. I'm going to actually say it again, I think, for next week in my little kind of Wisdom Wednesday thing. Because I really love that. I use it all the time. It's on my website even, that story. But at the beginning of that chapter, Clarissa Pinkola Estes talks about the little tiny details of things. And that when she was a child, she didn't realise that there were 4 seasons. She thought there were millions of seasons, you know. There was the time of this type of fire or this type of air, this type of snow.
All the different kinds of snow.
And this book is kind of that idea. It's looking at all the micro ideas. So I'm actually starting it further in because it's written month by month.
Oh, so you're going there.
So I'm going into January.
And you can do that. It's written in such a way that you can start
really, you're supposed to start at the beginning, but I'm trying to read it in the month that I'm in.
I'm going to go home and order that now. Because
I literally picked it up in Waterstones whilst I was with my best friend from Canada and her mum. And I was like, oh, this looks lovely. And I started to read it in the train on the way back to London and things like that. And I love it. It's really nice.
Tell us what it's saying about
it's
now.
asking you. So just at the very beginning of January, it was very much focused on the light and the stars, actually.
Which I have noticed.
And the shooting stars.
They've been
and
incredible.
The brightness of the things. In fact, I bored your husband on the way back from our drinks party about the closeness of
He's probably going,
Saturn and Jupiter to the moon. And he was like, what the hell are you talking about? You've had too much red wine. But it's true. It was absolutely true. And it wasn't just in this book. Other people have been talking about it. But I just love it. So he talks a lot about the moon. He talks a lot about the stars. But he also just talks about the tiny, tiny changes in nature. And then things like when there's one thing that happens, there's always at least one other thing that's happening. And I like this idea.
Things are linked.
As in things are linked. So he gives this very basic idea. So if you look at birds, for example, and the way that they will sit at certain times of the day on different parts of a roof.
Yeah.
Why are they doing it? So then look at the roof and look at how the sun and the temperature and the thermals and the warmth has affected. So you'll probably see that on one side of the roof it's very mossy. I mean, he's talking from a British perspective, so in England it's quite a damp kind of country. So, but the other side of the roof will probably be quite clean and clear and dry, and that's probably the side that they're going to choose to sit on, because they can bask in the sun, etc. But there'll be times in the summer where they'll probably go to the greener side because it's cooler. So he just talks about
that.
Things
Reminds
like that.
me, when you say that, I spent a long time watching down at your place in Provence.
Yes.
The cat
on
the opposite roof. I mean, that cat has got that. The rooftops are this cat's territory.
Oh, yeah, but they don't jump from the rooftops. So they've got ones they can do face-offs, but they can't jump.
But he or she had that whole
area.
Different. Yeah. It was doing exactly that, because we'd be like, "Where is it?" And then he'd be like, "Okay, that's the place he goes to in the morning." And then that later on, and then that in the evening, and you just thought, "Ooh."
And there are reasons for that. And then there'll be things like, the times of the day. So if you're sitting on my terrace in Provence, that sounds very, very posh, doesn't it? That sounds like I've kind of landed, in life there. Anyway, whole other story. But when in the evening, in the summer, all of a sudden, all the martingales, the little kind of birds that fly about like nuts, going and swooping over it because they're picking out the mosquitoes.
Yeah, you see that around here too.
You see that around here too, but it's just interesting. So the flying of the birds is linked to the arrival of the mosquitoes. Yeah. And that's the duality. Yeah. I think I just love the idea of the duality of things. They were like couplings, so it's there's never, and then at this time of year, it looks like the land is dead, but it's so not, and there's so many tiny little micro details.
But do you not think that when you slow down a little bit and you do this whole wintering and just really taking a bit of time to be more present and notice, you do become aware of our connection to all things.
Yes.
Of the fact that we are animals and we are part of a much bigger picture. And that alone is such a humbling thought and helps me in my day. You know what I mean? I think that's why I'm enjoying this book so much, because you wake up in the day, and especially in the winter, as I was saying to you, we're different, but I have a natural tendency in the winter, I think it's a lack of sunlight and stuff, there is a tendency to go down the depressive route. But by actively reading beautiful books like this, and just that then make me take a little bit longer to notice the beauty that's there, rather than just seeing it as cold and dark and a time of deprivation, when I actually see it as there's so much there. If you just notice, my mood shifts. I feel more positive.
What would some of the things they do in Norway be then? Because this is obviously a country where it's very dark.
Well, because it's dark all the time. Yeah. One of the big things that hit me was, and this reminded me of when I lived in Scotland, when I was younger and I lived in Scotland.
Yeah, because
so now we're very much like, oh God, it's winter, so everything almost stops. You don't do your evening activities. You stop going out running. Whereas if they did that when it was dark, they would never do anything. So if anything, there are times, sometimes in the darkest times, this is just how I was interpreting it, these cultural gatherings and ceremonies, and what we were thinking of doing, going outside in the park and having drinks and stuff in the freezing cold. There's loads of stuff like that. There's loads of clubs and book readings and get-togethers. So it's not a case of, your life just goes on hold whilst it's dark and it's cold. It's actually the opposite. It's the time, it's the time when they know how important things like connection and stuff are. So they ramp it up. There's a lot more dinners with friends and community and really celebrating the rituals. Everything. It's not just a meal or quickly rustling up dinner. It's making a real effort to mark the occasion and, have the beautiful bread and the bottle of wine and lovely scrumptious wintry food and get the fire on and just make it all lovely, rather than, oh my God, it's freezing, I can't do anything because it's cold.
What do you do in the morning then? What would be some of the things that you would do Like as a ritual every morning at the moment?
I always do a little bit of a ritual in the morning, but at the moment I've been adding to that. I've been lighting a candle.
Yeah.
And I've been really focusing. So I always do just my little 10-minute meditation. And then afterwards, I just sit there for a little bit and I acknowledge how I'm feeling. Because quite often I do wake up feeling a little bit tense or a bit, that's something that's more prominent for me in the winter.
Right.
So I just acknowledge what I'm feeling and why. And usually that helps sort of ease it a bit. And then I light the candle and I just ask, I don't know if it's the universe I'm asking really, but I just ask that I open myself up to whatever my day holds and whatever is meant for me. And I do that. It is a ritual. I make a point of doing that every day. I breathe, I slow down, I just write in my journal, and I make more in the winter rather than writing things like goal things like do this. In the winter I usually use my journal to write, to set my intention around things like make space in my day, make sure I take, one of the things I always write in the winter is make space for the beauty that surrounds you. So that's a bit like what you were talking about. So even if I'm in the office, I make a point of putting on my running shoes at lunchtime and going out and running along the river, and because things like that make a huge difference to my mental health. So it's the usual stuff, but I think I take longer over my cup of coffee. Paul brings me a cup of coffee every morning in my bed. So after I've done my wee meditation, I just sit there and I love it. I just sit there and really savor my coffee and feel grateful. Very, very simple. Yeah. But I'm making a real effort to make pretty much everything I do in the winter more of a ritual. Yeah. Like the dog walks, not looking on the phone so much, trying to really just listen to the snow crunching under my feet and looking up at the mountains.
In Japanese, they have amazing words to describe sounds. Did you know that?
No. Well, I think I have heard.
There's a fantastic book called Shinrin-yoku, which means forest bathing in Japanese. And in the book, she goes through some of the words. And there's a word for crunchy, crunchy snow.
It's lovely when you hear that. People quite often say that to me when they hear videos of us out here. They'll go, the sound of the crunching of you walking on the snow. You know what you're really good at? Remembering the names of authors, of books. I can't remember it.
I collect words. I do collect words, and there are some words that stick more than others.
You come out with all the like Chinese words and the
Tell you what my favourite German word is. Do you know what my favourite German word is? Empfang Verhütungsmittel.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What
do you
does
know what
that
it means?
mean?
It's condom. It's hilarious.
And how do you say condom?
Well, Empfang Verhütungsmittel.
That's a long word for if you're in the moment.
I know. Well, I think they also say condom now, actually. But in the actual real word is Empfang Verhütungsmittel. But I'm just going to give you the translation. I'm going to break it down because it's very Germanic, and German's a very logical language. I did languages at university.
So this means what?
So it means, Empfang means to receive.
Okay.
Verhütung means protect. Yeah. And Mittel means means of. So it's the means of protecting what you're about to receive.
That's good. I like that.
Incredibly. So we're going back to the bush. We're coming back to the bush.
Long.
You see, it is long.
But in a way, that statement
ties a little kid going into the pharmacy. You know, I'm talking years ago when this is the kind of thing you had to do and say, excuse me, can I have some Empfang Verhütungsmittel?
But I'm thinking when you say that the means to protect what you're about to receive, that almost sounds like something I would write in my journal in a morning. Doesn't it? It's quite nice.
Well, I'll give you another one.
I like that.
Temenos means, it's a Greek word, I think. I'm pretty sure it's Greek. And it means a sort of space, sacred space almost, but it's like a barrier or boundary around a sacred space. So it can be like a church or a temple or a sacred building. And around it is kind of this protection line. Okay. But I like to think of it around our body.
Yes.
So you have a temenos. You have like a there's a limit. So the reason I use this quite often is with horses, you need to have your energy zone and not, and respect their energy zone and their sacred space and temple. Sometimes you have to come closer, and there's a kind of language that has to happen about that. The same with people, There's a kind of space thing, isn't there? It's like,
you're right.
If someone comes up to you and just is immediately in your space like this.
I find myself flinching a bit when
that's the thing, because they've come in and beyond your timidness, they're in your sacred space then. Whereas if you invite them in, it's a different matter. So if you're bringing them in for a hug, or if there's a mutual conversation that's gone on, that's very different, because you've agreed, there's kind of been a silent, subtle agreement that's gone on to say we can come in and blend our spaces together now. But I love the idea that when you're meditating, so when I meditate in the morning, I believe I'm nourishing my timidness around me. Geranium essential oil is really good as well for protective energy. So you can even put a little bit of that on your, mix it with oil first,
even the sound
on your
of
heart
that
center.
to me just sounds like sacred space.
Sacred space, yes.
It's beautiful. Just speaking about that makes me think how much nicer to start your day like that.
With your sacred space.
With your sacred space.
Yes.
Rather than, oh shit, my alarm's just gone off, I'm late for work. Yeah, it's so much nicer.
Well, I don't put electricity on first thing in the morning when I get up. It's one of my little rituals. So I tend to light candles. So
that's what this book, How to Winter, is all about.
Yeah.
Apparently in the Danes, the Finns, there's very little
in the morning, so
lights.
I've got my big lights on now. It's rare I have big lights on. But in fact, when we came around to your house for drinks just after Christmas, it's hilarious because your partner just turned around and went, I can't see a effing thing in here.
He keeps putting on the lights. I like the candles.
We've got the candles.
And then he keeps switching on the lights. I'm like, that's
defeating the object.
But he's like, I can't see my dinner.
Well, I tend to get up and I'll touch the floor and then touch my heart, which is one of my little rituals I've done for years.
I've been doing the heart thing a lot.
Then I get up and I light candles to see what I'm doing. So that's the first thing I do is that. And I always remember hearing this phrase, and I can't remember who said it, something like Rumi or something like that, but the smallest candle can light the darkest room. Aww. And so I'll start by lighting a candle and just appreciate that light first. Then I start to light other candles in the lounge. And I don't put any electricity on. I heat my water with gas. Nice. And then I'll make my coffee. And that's kind of one of my little, I'm respecting the start of the day moments and then I like to sit and in my sacred space.
That's nice.
I like to nurture my sacred space. And what I've started to do this year, first time, inspired by this book, which I am reading page by page because I find it very, very difficult to. It's called The Hidden Seasons.
Oh, there's another book I've ordered, and I wish I can't remember what it is.
In the next episode. This is episode 32, by the way.
Is it? Woo!
32, yes. And we've got more and more people listening to it, so thank you very much. Thank you very much.
But ladies, this is, invitation to just slow down.
Slow down and light the candles.
Rituals.
And just appreciate the moment. And this is what I've started to do, inspired by this book. I'm writing a nature diary. Well, it's sort of an observation diary. Which is just, what? Each day. Just like, what was the light like? What have I noticed today? Like the other day I was driving out from the stables and there was a beautiful woodpecker. You don't often see woodpeckers. There's a beautiful woodpecker just on one of the trees there. So I wrote that in the diary. So I'm just each day writing a little thing.
That reminds me of when I was growing up, before we had like Strava and everything like that, and I was a runner, and I got this from my dad. But I used to follow a running plan, a training program, because I was, I would be like training for local races and stuff like that. But what he did and what he got me to do was keep a running diary. And it was very much, it wasn't all about your times and your stats and what your heart rate was. Yeah. Because we didn't have, we had a stopwatch. Yeah. But I wasn't running along looking at my pace like I'm doing now. It was exactly that. It was how far did you go? How did you feel? What was the weather like? Did it come easy? Was it hard slog?
What did you notice?
And it was all what you noticed. And I loved that experience of just taking 5 minutes after my run. And one of the nice things was looking back. Yeah. Looking back and seeing your progress. And there would always be a reason. you maybe didn't realise at the time, but if you did have a bad run,
Yeah.
it would become apparent in your little run. Because again, it's a way of taking a time out to connect with your feelings, which you don't get on Strava and all that stuff, do you? That's just push, compare yourself with others.
remember training for marathons when I lived in London, and there was a massive World Cup match on, and I think England were in it. That's why it was even bigger. There was no one on the streets. There's literally nobody. It was in the summer. The windows were open, so you could hear the score everywhere. And we were in our running group running through London. There was no one on the roads.
Wow.
It was so
be like how it was in COVID. I mean, I wasn't in London,
to
but
be
that's what
running.
everybody
It
said.
was incredible. But the two things about that, funny, the Strava, I've never had that app, and I will never have it. It's not one of my, I don't do that kind of thing. And I never did, even when I was training for like marathons and stuff. I never did.
We didn't have it.
No, we didn't have it. But two funny things. One, I don't know if you've ever seen the guy who, and he doesn't just do it about running and things, but he does one like Instagram clip where he knocks on his neighbour's door and goes, done a 5K? Done a 5K? Yeah, personal best. Did this and that. And he sort of talks to his neighbour.
As if
it was a
like
Strava thing.
Love it.
But obviously old school, you know, like before it all happened. And before everyone's on apps and stuff like that. It's just in front of the neighbours going, and?
Yeah.
I'm not really that interested. Seriously? Then he just keeps on and on.
The days when you just go for a run and actually listen to how you were feeling and slow down if you felt a bit it was tough. Yeah. Instead of just looking like this looking at the thing, looking at the watch.
The other funniest thing I think I've ever heard on a Strava note, was with one of my ex-work colleagues with whom I created my first online yoga site called Yoga Chinois. And we're having one of our meetings, which we used to do every few months, to go, this isn't working, or this is where, or this is. And he said, I'm just going to show you this, Charlotte, because I'm quite proud of it. And he showed me his Strava route, okay?
Yeah.
It had taken him weeks.
Oh, was it like a
penis?
Yeah, penis. I've seen people do that.
He said, it's taken me weeks. He said, this bit's the hardest bit, because there's like a lake thing around here. You know, this is my run, and it's really taken me weeks to really perfect the curb.
I have seen other people doing that, like the Strava, and it's like,
so
because it is, like
what's that picture of it and everything?
He's making a good point there.
And I have to say, that is pretty impressive. I mean, that's got effort in it, hasn't it? You know, running aside, so, I have been doing the run, obviously, as well, each time, but you know, every time I'd look and I'd think,
quite symbolic.
Right, so instead of following the pavement there, I need to actually widen it into the road.
Love it. Well, yeah, we've talked about all sorts today. So
there's been a lot of nether regions at the beginning and the end.
I wonder
but the
what
middle, I
says.
think, has been quite rich.
Yes.
What would you like to say as a kind of final January, because this is January when we're filming this, New Year word, and then we will close, lovely people.
As in one word or a closing word?
Kind of, I don't know, phrase or inspiration, or what are you taking with you? What is your word for this year? Have you got a word?
My word for this year is abundance.
Abundance.
Which I write that in my journal every day.
I
think what I'm taking from today though is just like, like I've enjoyed just coming here. I was stressed out to the nines. Is that an expression?
Yeah, it is an expression.
I was pissed off and angry and frustrated because I've spent a whole day dealing with administrative crap. Came in, we're like, and then just chatting with a friend and speaking about this kind of stuff. You feel better. You feel
better. That's abundance in itself, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
exactly. My word is authenticity.
Yes.
And
I like that one. I think that was mine a couple of years ago.
Authenticity. And the reason for that are various reasons. I usually have a word for the year for my coaching group, and then every month has another word, and it's like A and then U and then T. So every month spins off from that. So I like to have one blanket word for the year, but mainly because it's the year of the horse.
Yeah, I've been reading. I think it was you that introduced me to that.
Yes. And it's the year of the fire horse, and we're not quite in it yet. Actually, we're still in the snake. So we're still in the shedding the skins and still introspecting, but it's really starting to become clear now. And the new moon that is going to happen in the next couple of days at the time of recording this, and this will probably go out around that time. New moon's coming this weekend. Very powerful. But I think it's in Capricorn, and Capricorn's all about like reality. So although you might say, oh, I'll dream this, I'd love this, and it's about now sort of manifesting things in reality. and being very present with it. And that's what the horse energy is all about. So it's about being
Nice.
authentic, about being present. It's going to be a fast-paced year, which
I
judging by the
think I
speed
can
of my
feel
horse
that.
recently,
I can feel that. I can
fast-paced
see
year.
that that's the way the year is kind of already started.
But it's also going to ask us to evolve quickly.
Yeah.
So it's not as much of the slow evolution and introspection.
No.
It's much more about the external
Yeah.
and the action, and being in the present to react to that. But you can't do that unless you've got firm roots and that you're
completely.
you know
It's
exactly
important
who
to
you are.
know who you are and where you want to,
Yeah.
what actions you want to take. Otherwise,
Yeah. And one of the ladies I follow on Instagram, called Katie Forster Writes, she came out with a very good little sort of title, but it's a very rude word that I don't really want to put out on any of this medium, but it's a CUNT word, which said, just be more of a CUNT.
Yeah.
That was her thing for this year.
Because a good friend of mine says, don't be a CUNT. That's her thing that she says all the time.
Yeah, but I think what she means is, just be more, say no when you mean no.
Don't
go,
okay.
Maybe,
Yeah, don't apologise.
Don't apologise for things.
For who
just
you
be
are and what you want.
authentically you.
Yeah.
There we go. That's your 2026 sorted. Now, I'm going to go and trim my bush.